Hello everybody and welcome to this Train Sim World 4 Train Sim World news video. We'll call it that. Today we're going to have a look at what I want to see in Train Sim World 4. Just to, before you all take to the comments, there's not much point now debating how likely this is to release, because it's almost certain now. There was obviously lots of skepticism when the claims first surfaced, but with enough digging you can find a lot of evidence, and I've discussed those in my previous videos on this topic, which you can find in the description, and just search for Train Sim World 4. I'm sure my videos are up there. But this is going to be what features and routes and stuff I want to see. You can probably already get a bit of a hint at what I'm going to suggest. And yes, I am milking this for content, because, why wouldn't you? Got free reign, because the big channels aren't really commenting on it, because I presume they would be in an NDA, and they're not allowed to talk about things that are in development. Which, whatever. So, a bit of an overview. The original article that all of this came from claimed that it was in the final stages of development and that it will release sometime in sort of mid to late September. The specific date was announced. I've forgotten it. But it is on one of my previous videos, which you should definitely go have a look at. And also have a look at my blog post. I'll link that in the description or in a card in the top right or something. Secondly, it's going to be an entirely new game, not a paid update. Again, that's in the blog. All of the details for that are in the blog, as is the expected pricing. And we don't know the base routes, but there's possibly going to be a Japanese or a Chinese third-party route. And I say that because there's a third-party team called Union Workshop, I think they're called. And very early, was it this year or late last year, Dovetail announced that they were being introduced to the route editor and that they were working on a new DLC for Train Sim World 3. Now, we have heard nothing since. And now that Train Sim World 4 has come along, perhaps they've just been making something for that. But I say Chinese-Japanese because they are already established in Train Simulator, Train Sim Classic, and they only make Chinese and Japanese routes. So all of the Japanese routes that you see for Train Sim, and some or most of the Chinese routes, I'm not too familiar with Train Sim Classic DLC, I'll be pretty honest. All of them come from Union Workshop. So it'll be interesting to see, certainly good to get out of the big three of the UK, US and Germany. But that's not really what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what I would like to see. So this is the content, so the route, the trains, the stuff. And this is just base game stuff. Obviously there's a whole list of routes that I want to see. And there are routes that I want to see, but that I have no expectation they'll actually happen. And I've discussed them a fair bit previously, so I'm just going to keep these realistic expectations of what I would like to see as a base route. Obviously, the base routes have already been decided, but I picked these based on some suspicion of what the base routes could be as well. So they're sort of what I hope they are, what they could be. Well, you'll see. So the first one is the East Coast Main Line. Now, this would be from Blackfriars and or Moorgate to Peterborough. I reckon would be the most likely iteration of this. It could also be London Bridge up. It could be just King's Cross High Level coming up. But I say this route because there's a lot of rolling stock that can be recycled, like the Class 66, Class 37, the 700, the 387 and the 43. Also, Dovetail has somewhat of a trend of releasing a loco for a specific route and then releasing another route that it can run on a bit better. Thinking like the 101 loco in Germany. But it would allow the 700 really free reign to go on the AC territory. And I think I read somewhere Matt discussed the possibilities, or they discussed that they wanted to have an AC route that the 700 would run on in timetable mode, and this certainly fits the bill. The only other route that fits the bill is the Midland Main Line, which could work, I guess, with the HST and the 700, and new rolling stock as a 222, which could then be layered onto MML North. But I don't know, because we've already got one bit of the MML. I don't know how likely they are to We'll see. But yeah, new rolling stock could obviously be the Class 800. That would be either that or a 91 and a Mark IV would be pretty much essential. And perhaps a Class 717, perhaps a Class 365. There's lots of other new things, but those three there are just the base things that I think could happen, but not all three, probably one or two of the three. Should this route be, in fact, in development. I think this route is likely-ish, because there's a huge variety of rolling stock and service pattern. You've got the high speed, the metro, perhaps Northern City Line. It's been so highly requested. Probably every day a new ECML thread pops up in the suggestions on the forums. And there is a lot of rolling stock that can be reused, either from base or in layers. So it would become a sort of a Brighton mainline situation. And I think that would be really good for the game. I think it would be a really fun route to play. Sort of like the Brighton mainline, but AC territory. Next, I would really like to see, and I think it's likely that we will see at some point, a new tube line. Why do I say that? Well, because it's so very highly requested. This is possibly the most highly requested thing. If you go on the number of threads that keep propping up, it's just this tube line or that tube line or the other tube line. Now, I don't really mind which tube line it is, as long as it's not like the Waterloo and City line or something. I just really love the challenge that frequent stopping metro style service is. The Bakerloo line, as it says there, is my most played route, and my most played train is the 1972 tube stock. I like these kinds of services, and it's reasonably likely because Just Trains are developing for Train Sim World, and they made the Metropolitan line for Train Simulator. This is something that I made a video on ages ago. But I really am hopeful that there is a new tube line somewhere in the works, and perhaps the Metropolitan line will do that. And the Metropolitan line is quite nice because it's got nice long service, but at the same time it has short service. You can have the S7 and the S8. You can have short services from just Baker Street to Aldgate, or you can have longer from Aldgate to, I don't know, Uxbridge or Watford to Baker Street. You've got all these different service patterns. It would be so nice compared to like the Bakerloo line, which is a reasonably nice route, but you're either going from Elephant to Queen's Park, Elephant to Stonebridge, or Elephant to Watford, and it's all the same route. It's just where do you stop along that route, whereas the Metropolitan line obviously has 4 separate branches and lots of differing service patterns, and it's very different from one end to the other. You got the rural feel out near Chesham, Amersham, and then you come and you're sitting in the tunnels with super frequent stations. Anyway, that's what I think about the new tube line, why I'd like one. And finally, in a similar vein, a new New York subway line, or not new, a New York subway line. Now, I won't pretend to be an expert on the New York subway. I know a little bit about it, but really not much. I think it would be really cool. operationally, the trains still run with guards. They're a bit bigger than on the tube. They're very visually different. The lines are, they're either 4 tracks with the express and the locals and huge girders in the stations, or they're elevated. Like the seven line would be pretty cool. Maybe pre-ATO though. Pretty sure that line's ATO now. If you're a New Yorker and and I'm wrong, please let me know. But I would like to see a New York subway line, because they are still manually driven on the most part. It's very highly requested. Dovetail already have a license for the MTA, so that wouldn't be an issue. And it's not like they haven't done a New York route before. They've done 4 of them in the past. They've done the Long Island Railroad, Metro North Railroad, and the 2 NEC routes. So I don't think a subway line would be a stretch of the imagination there. The only issue is it's a much busier railway. As a whole, it's a much busier railway. So how likely it would be that the MTA will let Dovetail do something like that. Although I suspect the reason why it hasn't been done before is just because Dovetail think it will be too hard. Because that was the biggest thing when they were developing the Bakerloo line, is they just kept being, oh, it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard. But remain hopeful. But I really would like a new subway line. I keep saying new. I would like a subway line. It seems like a really cool thing from an operational standpoint. So different to almost every other metro system out there. Anyway, enough ranting. Just a quick little thing to finish is the core features that I'd like to see. So better sounds. Like the sounds, they're okay, but they're not great, especially now entering the 4th generation of a game. Like we've had updates to the, Train Sim World original was, Simulgraph, look at this, we're simulating everything. And then Train Sim World 2 was, look at this, we're going to introduce livery designer and scenario planner, and down the track a sharing service for that, and we're going to have much better adhesion technology, yada yada yada. Train Sim World 3 comes along and basically just has a new lighting engine and slightly improved optimization. Train Sim World 4, who knows? But the sounds are awful. Scenario Planner, it was a good proof of concept when it released, but it needed to be expanded. It still hasn't been expanded. Scenario Planner 2.0 was shelved, I believe, which was a big shame. It's not that useful. You've only got so many paths, and they're not very flexible. It would just be nice if I could say, go from one station to another station, pick the fast lines, or if you have a little track diagram and you can plot your route along, and it will set all of the points and signals as necessary. You could set different priorities. No, who knows? Anyway, there's just my ideas. And general optimization, because the stuttering is such an annoyance. So bad, I hate it. Now I will say that there are other core features that I think are likely, but I don't particularly care about. Like multiplayer. All the 4-year-olds rant about multiplayer. Oh, I want to play with my friends. I'd love to play multiplayer. If you're one of them, I'm sorry, but it's really annoying. I wouldn't necessarily be adverse to it coming, but I'd be indifferent. I'd prefer other things to come before that. I would be disappointed if multiplayer was featured, but at the cost of something better. Likewise, guard mode, I don't really care. Seems like they will pursue it, because it was certainly seen as a proof of concept in the Glossop line. Sparking was featured on the Island line, and then they reintroduced it into Train Sim World 3, but on all other routes. I suspect guard mode will be somewhat like that. But I don't really care about that either. I won't play it much. I don't foresee. I mean, I might, but I don't think I will. It's just not really my kind of thing. What I would like to see is a simulated guard. So if there is a service that would have a guard on it, make the guard do something. Like, I don't want to control the doors if the driver doesn't open the doors in real life. It's what people have been saying for ages, and it really shouldn't be that hard. Like, as soon as you stop at the platform, it opens. Or maybe it should be something that you can toggle on or off. Like, if you're not confident in your stopping abilities, then you toggle it off. Or maybe a dialogue box comes up in the corner and you say, like, press P to unlock the doors, or like press tab to unlock the doors, or to let the guard unlock the doors, or something like that. I think that'd be cool. I should have put that on there, shouldn't I? Anyway, I've gone on enough of a rant. Thank you all so much for putting through 16 minutes of me blabbling on. I hope you found it somewhat engaging. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Check out my previous videos and the blog post. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.